Hello, good morning, and welcome to episode 2 of Garry's Garage. I appreciate you coming back and saying hi. This is day 6 of the Scala refinishing project. We are basically done with the one, and we have another one to finish. Today we have a little bit of work inside the cabinets, a little bit, a couple hours of rough sanding, and then we have another hour or so of finish sanding on the project to get the other speaker into the same shape as this one, so then we can start the next phase of the refinishing project, the finishing oil. So that will be exciting coming up, and you'll get to see some of that. So again, today is just a little bit towards sanding. And if we get it into a proper place today, we'll have both ready to go. And I might even attempt to put a coat of oil on it today. So exciting times. We'll be able to see them moving right along. I bet you've noticed that there's some music, and I'm going to do that for the at least the introduction parts. Today we're listening to the great Miles Davis, um, one of the premier jazz artists of any generation. Miles Davis, and this is the record "Kind of Blue" playing right now. And if you like jazz, or even if you don't like jazz, this guy is kind of a genius. So you should take a listen. Again, Miles Davis, "Kind of Blue." Um, Amazing stuff. And other great artists are on this record. Uh, but at any rate, welcome again, and we'll see you soon. Okay, so it took about the same time to do this one as it was to do the last one. As you can see, I'm full of sanding dust. It took about 4 hours to get um, the speaker in a condition where it's ready now to be finished. So I'm done sanding. Done. Plenty of time sanding. So we're ready for oil, but I am not going to do it tonight. I am pretty much tired out, so but I can feel good that the hard part's over. The sanding has been done. The finish sanding has been done. I think it's just pretty much, like I said, ready for the final coat, the final applications of the finishes that I'll be using, and then we'll go into more detail about that before I start doing it. But I'm glad to be over. Day 6, again, about 4 hours of sanding time, the same as yesterday. So both speakers took a lot longer to do than I had anticipated, but they're done. So yay. I'm going to go take a shower, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Hi there, welcome back. It's finally time to put away the sander and the sanding paper and get to the finishes. But there's a little prep work, and we'll talk through that in just a minute. Okay, so like I said, time to put away the sanders and the sandpaper. Bye. See you next time. All right, so now we are, sander. Now we are looking at the next phase of this project, which is to put oil on them. Now today is Sunday, and it's pretty chilly here in Minneapolis, so I'm not going to be able to put a final coat on anytime soon, but maybe by Friday I'll be able to do that. So that's what this is.
let me just talk briefly about what we got going on here. First of all, first step is after they're sanded, now they're sanded, they're both sanded. And I'll kind of turn the camera and so you can see them both. Okay, so they're both sanded, they're ready to go. Ready for the next phase. Got them all cleaned up. All I need to do now is blow them out, and then I can do, the first thing I'll do is a coat of mineral oil. Now, a lot of people, there's a lot of argument about what kind of oil. Some people use tung oil, there's linseed oil, there's mineral oil, there's all sorts of variations. There's, people sometimes will use no oils, and they'll just kind of go with a polyurethane finish. Some people like to use, odd things like beeswax. There's 100 variations of different products that you can use to treat or finish wood. This is the best thing that I've ever found. Mineral oil is a byproduct of petroleum oil, unfortunately, but it has one characteristic that I like, two characteristics that I like over other oil types. One is that it never truly dries. It's always in a state of that, viscous, oily substance. So it soaks into the wood, and the surface of the wood is dry, of course, but the oil itself stays, to treat the wood for the long term is what I would say. When you're dealing with antiques, you're already dealing with wood that's fairly dried out. It's been in a house, it's been, sitting for 30, 40 plus years. You're taking the steps to refinish it, but the thing that I think is important is you're kind of reinvigorating the wood. You're bringing a little bit of more moisture back into the wood, and this is how I do that, through mineral oil. So you put on some of this stuff, it wipes on real easy. It takes the oil, because wood is porous, so it kind of takes the oil, and then you just kind of keep wiping it down until it's kind of dry to the surface, and then you let it sit, and a couple of days later, and the thing is perfectly dry and ready for any final coats that you want to do. Sometimes I'll do multiple coats of oil depending on the dryness of the wood. So you kind of got to look at it, judge, and it's an interesting process to put it on there. It'll actually be, it'll bring back the color of the wood that it was already stained. So it's a very satisfying part of the job, because you're past all the sanding stage and stuff like that. Now they're just raw wood. And now you're going to be bringing it back to a kind of a colorful, oiled stage. So it brings a lot of that antique look back, because it's really deeply ingrained in the wood. And it also hopefully will bring out the grain of the wood a lot more. So that's the next step. There's obviously some prep work to do before that. First order of business is to take these outside again, use the air compressor, blow out all the nicks and crannies for any kind of last sanding, dust, or anything that you don't want to be part of the wood surface. And do one final check to make sure that, out in the light, everything looks right. All the last little minute sanding details are good. And, because this is basically, once you apply the oil, there's no more sanding. So, then after you blow them out, you use tack cloth. You take this tack cloth, and you can buy this at any hardware store, or any home improvement store. And it's called tack cloth, and this is some pretty good stuff right here. This is called Super Tough, and you can find these all over the place. And these you can reuse. They stay tacky for a very long time. You take it out, and it's just a sheet of kind of a material that's coated with some kind of a tacky substance, and you completely wipe the entire surface of the furniture that you're staining or oiling off, and every little surface, every little nook and cranny, you kind of get this tack cloth in there. You get every surface done, because it takes all that sawdust, that sanding dust, even out from the grooves of the wood itself. So it's kind of a real nice cleaning effect for the wood before you do the oil coat. Okay, so we'll take these outside, we'll blow them off. I'm going to take the opportunity to kind of clean up the garage a little bit after all the sanding and stuff, to make sure it's clean, because we're going to be doing these steps. We want a clean area, so I'm going to take the time to do that as well, and then we will see you in a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now they're all blown off, and the garage is cleaned up a little bit. So I'm going to start with the tack cloth. Okay, so now that we've gotten the tack cloth off, we will start using it. These tack cloths are very tacky. Obviously, they'll make your fingers stick, and you just want to rub the entire surface down and make sure that you're hitting all. You're going with the grain, and you're hitting them all with this tack cloth. That'll take away any kind of leftover in the actual grooves of the wood. Make it ready for the oil to be applied. And you don't want to be touching the wood as much as you can avoid it, because it is something that will pick up finger, and you'll be able to see it through the application of the finishes. So you want to kind of use it. And some people use gloves. It's not a bad idea. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention during this segment was the other reason for using mineral oil. Mineral oil is mineral oil is not an animal byproduct. It is a petroleum byproduct. We use it on cutting boards for this reason. It doesn't ever go bad. It doesn't turn rancid, yellow, or other stains will, or other oils will. Linseed oil, tung oil, they're all natural products, and they'll either turn rancid or they have a tendency to turn yellow, where the mineral oil will always kind of remain that clear
um, you know, situation. Never turning rancid, never smelling weird, never, you know, never really drying even. It just kind of keeps the wood in a nice pristine state underneath the final finish. And speaking of which, the final finish will be a Danish oil, Watco. It's fairly inexpensive, very, very good stuff. It's kind of a mixture of polyurethane and oil itself, and we use that as kind of the last finish. That hardens quite nicely. It's kind of a nice finish to it. It's not overkill, it's very natural. And so we like to use that product quite a bit for all of our projects. So Danish oil, thumbs up from me. Easy to apply. You just apply it with a cloth. It's a wipe-on thing. You just kind of wipe it on evenly, an even coat throughout the wood, and then once the coat has been applied, you step back, you let it dry overnight or longer, and it just turns out really, really nice. So thumbs up for Danish oil and for mineral oil. Use quite a bit. So, all right. Hi again. Okay, so we're going to start putting an application of oil on. I got my trusty mineral oil and a whole mess load of rags. Make sure you're using clean rags. Obviously, you want to use a clean rag. Freshly linened. You know, you can obviously pick up shop towels from Menards or whatever and use it. I use old cotton undershirts that have just served their life well, and then I cut them up into little small pieces and use them for this. So at any rate, I got a variety of them here. I'll just pick one. Again, I have the whole surfaces tacked, ready to do this. So now I'll just pour a little oil on the surface and start wiping it in. So basically, you just want to go a little at a time, and you want to just kind of start moving it into the grain. And because it's a little chilly today, this will just take, you know, a little bit of time. All you're doing basically is you're moving this oil into the wood by applying it with this rag. And as you can see, there's already starting to be just a little bit more color and a little bit more revealing of the grain of the wood underneath. And that is exactly what we want to see. Nice and clean, but just like I said, a little bit at a time. And you want to kind of, the wood will let you know how much is enough. And you just kind of work the surface like that, and you roll over the thing, and that's pretty much what you have to do for this stage of the game. So we'll do another section here, pour a little bit of oil on the surface, get a good sense of what we're doing. Just kind of work with the grain, and you know, it doesn't really matter though that much at this stage if you're with or not the grain, but I always like to work with the grain anyways. It just feels better, sounds better, working with something instead of against it. So, okay, so we will continue to do this until we have all surfaces oiled, and we'll return then. I find this work to be very satisfying use of your time. It really starts to look nice after a while. You kind of get over every section, and then you come back over it again, and you just make sure all the surfaces have been exposed to that oil. And you don't want to leave any big puddles of oil, of course, anywhere. You just want an even application so that it all looks real nice and well taken care of furniture. Okay, So now you can see that we've gotten oil on the front of this thing pretty well, getting some color back into it. You can kind of see it's starting to kind of come up and looking real nice. This wood just loves its oil. It is soaking it in real nice, and we are happily applying it. It's kind of fun because it you could tell the wood just loves it. I don't know about that, but you can. It just feels like the wood really wants this, and even just after a short time, the surface area is dry to the touch, but you can just tell that the wood just soaked all that oil up, and you can even see that I should probably come back and redo this part because there's some lighter parts, and so I'll put more oil on there. Just give it until it's if it wants more, give it a little bit more. You don't have to be shy. This stuff will dry. You do want to apply it evenly, so you want to make sure that you go back and touch every area again. You kind of give it a pretty thick coat the first time, and then kind of thinner, just an oily rag the next, and so on. Just let it take as much as it really wants. But you can already see that the grain is starting to really pop on these guys already. I don't know if you can see that very well, but the oil just makes the grain come out. It looks just real beautiful. So really nice part about doing these projects is this stage when you can start to see how pretty they're going to be when they're done. So okay. Sitting on the ground, as you can see, you really just kind of have to get in there. And I can't stress the importance of reapplying. As you're working on something that's this big, you want to go over a surface, and then you want to go to another surface, and then you want to come back to that original surface. You want to keep doing it over and over until it has taken pretty much all the oil it's going to take. And you can kind of look at it. I use little tricks, like you can kind of look at the sheen from a light source that's close by, and you can kind of just see the sheen, and you can see that that part's already dried, and so you just kind of go over it again, and then you go to the next panel. But the basic idea is that you want to finish it where it's all even. It's taken about as much oil as it's going to take, and then it's kind of at an even sheen, and you just at that point, which is far from here, but at that point you can step away from it and let it dry a couple of days. And when I say dry, like I said, the surface is what's drying. The fibrous parts of the wood have now accepted all of that oil, and that's going to last in there for an awfully long time. We're talking years, decades. So that's the nice thing again about the mineral oil, making the wood kind of come back to life, getting that original kind of glow from the wood. It's it looks antique-y, but it also, in your heart that it's fresh and good. So I'm going to continue, and we'll stop back later. Okay, so I have one oiled, the other one's not. So you can kind of see the side-by-side comparison right now of them. It's already almost taken about a quart of oil. So I'm going to use another quart for the other one. You can start to see what we're looking at there as far as a finished color. See how beautiful. So yeah, it's a nice process. It really does make it come out. At this point, I don't want to leave it. I don't want to touch it too much at this point. Just kind of leave it alone, let the oil start to dry.
and then I will be coming back around and maybe, after I've applied a coat of oil to the second one, I'll come back with this one with a wet oily rag again and just do another layer of a light coat, making sure there aren't any areas that just didn't get enough oil. But yeah, they're turning out pretty good so far, so exciting times. Okay, so we got our first coat of oil on. Used about 1.5 quart of oil to do it, so it was they were pretty thirsty. So yeah, now we just kind of let them sit, let the oils just kind of soak in, start to dry. I'll come back in about an hour and with another oiled rag, wipe them down again with the grain, always with the grain at this point then, and just to make sure that everything has been fully covered. But as you can see, they're already starting to get quite pretty. So we're pretty excited about them, but now it's just time to let them just kind of sit. All right, we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.